This entitled mom expects her coworker to modify her son's Xbox for free. When he refuses, she sets up a meeting with the manager, but the tables are about to turn. Happy birthday, today's your birthday, and on with the show. This happened or started about a year and a half ago. EM shows up at my desk one day at work. I've seen her at meetings, but never interacted directly with her. We work in different parts of the building for different functions. She's in customer service and I'm in supply chain. I am several steps up in the food chain and I don't know her name. "Are you?" She says my name. Me checking to see if my desk name placard disappeared. Yes? "Okay, I heard you used to be in the military." Not a question, just a statement. Yes, I was. "Okay, I heard you used to fix electronics, is that true?" I did. I haven't done any of that in about 10 years. "Okay, but you still know a lot about electronics?" Not liking this conversation. Some things yes, some things no. "But you could add a printer though, right?" "I'm sorry, I have a meeting to go to in a few minutes. What do you want?" "Well, I need you to add a printer on my computer." You know, the step-by-step directions with screenshots are posted over all the printers, right? And isn't IT right next to where you work? They can help you if you need it. "It will only take a minute. I'm horrible at this stuff. And IT is off-site today." Okay, which printer do you want to add? EM looks at me like I'm stupid. "The one closest to my desk." Yeah, I figured that, but do you know the printer name? "No, can't you figure that out?" Listen, I'm due in a meeting in a few. I need to finish up a couple things beforehand. If you can't get anyone to help you in the next hour from your area, bring me the name and I'll show you how to add it. "Can you come to my floor? That would be easier." Not for me. If you really want my help, make sure you bring the printer name with you. I'll be back from my meeting in an hour. EM walks off. My coworkers and I exchange glances and eye rolls and talk about how easy it is to follow the screenshots. I get to my meeting and forget all about EM until a friend IMs me. "Hey, what did you do to EM?" Me not understanding the question's intent, I might be helping her add a printer if she can't figure it out by the end of the meeting. "Any chance you can help her?" "But what did you say to her? She sounds upset and said you were really rude." What? Does that even sound like me? I explain what happened. "You can ask the friend who was there. She was really pushy. I said I'd help her when I got out of this meeting, if she couldn't figure it out. Can you help her?" "I'm on call and going to another meeting after. If I get out early, I'll try. Just thought you should know she's down here complaining about you." Fast forward to the end of the meeting. I get back to my desk to drop off my computer and then go to the break room to get some tea. I walk back to my desk with a friend. EM is waiting for me looking irritated. EM eyeing my cup of coffee. "So you had a meeting?" "Yes, then I got some tea. Were you able to figure it out?" "No, that's why I'm back. Can you hurry up and add the printer? I need to get this printed for this afternoon." "Hey, I'm offering to help you. I don't know you, and I hear you're complaining that I'm not being very helpful to your coworkers, and I don't even know you." "Who said that?" "Do you want my help or not?" "Fine. I got the name like you said." Hands me a post-it. It reads the words HP Laserjet. And sigh. "Listen, this isn't the name. Who's someone who sits near you that could run over to the room and check for us?" I am her coworker who promptly sends me a screenshot and says they offered to help her earlier, but EM said I was going to. Deep sigh. And I walk her over to the printer room. I make her follow the directions on the screenshots herself, and it's set up in a couple of minutes. "See, was that so hard?" "No, it really wasn't complicated at all. Next time just give it a shot first and then ask IT for help. Or lots of people in your area can do this, like the person we IM'd for the printer name." "Thanks. See you later." Cheerfully goes off. I forget all about it until the next day. I'm working and hear a happy voice say, "Hi, it's me again. Thanks again for all your help yesterday." I'm feeling annoyed but relenting a bit because she sounds like she's being nice. "Oh, you're welcome. Everything work okay?" "Yeah, I got everything printed out just in time. Hey, I was telling my family about how you used to work on electronics and my son has a question. Can you do a mod to his Xbox?" This is where I made a giant error. I should have said no and just left it there. Instead, I say something like, "It's been a long time, I think the last one I did was on a Gen 2 Xbox while I was deployed. Oh good, so you'll do it? Me backpedaling hard. No, I can't. I don't even have the equipment to do that. And there are a lot of problems with making mods. Like I could break the machine and it would completely void the warranty. I said a bunch of other stuff too about why it was a bad idea. But my son really wants the mod and everyone else wants too much money for it. They want like $50. And we'd have to buy the mod ourselves. Well, yeah, it takes time, and the mod is more than $50. What you're paying for is a lot of skill and knowing how to solder. Again, I wouldn't know how to do any mods these days, and I don't have the equipment to do this anymore. It would cost you more to buy the equipment than to pay someone else. Even if I could do it, I'm not willing to. But he really wants it, and he doesn't want to pay that much. He says you can use the electronics lab at his school. At this point, one of my coworkers has had enough and tells her, listen, he doesn't want to do it, and he said no. Either pay someone who will or tell your son he can't have it. EM looks shocked and leaves in a huff saying, you don't have to be rude about it. I figure that's the last I'll see of her. But no, my friend who works near her IMs me a little later and says she's going off. I find out who her manager is and set up a meeting with him a few days later. He shows up for the meeting with her in tow. We get into the room and he kicks it off. Thanks for taking the time to meet with us. I hope we can work out whatever conflict you're having. I told EM I want to stay unbiased, so I haven't heard her side yet. Can you tell me why you think you're having issues working with EM? What? Well, tell me your side of things, then she can tell me hers, and then we can talk about it. This guy thinks he's here to resolve a conflict. Well, she's been extremely rude. EM spluttering. Manager looking frustrated but patient. Can we stick to the facts and avoid any kind of name calling? Okay, I'm just frustrated. She wants me to make a modification to her son's Xbox and I'm not able to do it or willing to. I'm sorry, what? EM cuts in. He wants me to spend money to hire someone else to do it. I already told him that he could use the electronics lab at his school. EM, is this work related? Well, at first it was. He wouldn't help me install my printer. I finally got him to, and when I asked him to help my son, he refused. And one of the other people he works with was really mean about it. He made it personal. Me leans back and smiles a little. Your son? Looks at me. You're in supply chain, right? Yes, I am. Yeah, he wants me to spend a bunch of money on my son's Xbox. My son even found a place for him to work on it. I was going to buy the things he needs. He just has to install it. The manager to her, would you excuse us for a second? I'd like to talk to OP. EM leaves looking smug. Manager to me. I'm at the same level as the manager as far as responsibilities. Can you tell me what's going on? I ping my counterpart who was there for both interactions, and she's entering EM's callouts. Make sure you tell him what really happened. I think I'm going to be really sorry, but what did happen? We explain and my coworker is way more heated than I am. I also refer him to my friend who works near them for the rest of the story and show him my friend's IMs. I'm so sorry, do you want HR involved? Only if she keeps asking me to do this stuff. Also, next time if I ask for a meeting with you and don't add someone to the invite, don't surprise me. We talk a bit more before he leaves and he promises she'll only come to me if there's a work reason. Fast forward a month, she walks by my desk and says she's on her way to a meeting and says, well, I just thought you should know we had to get our son a new PlayStation because you wouldn't help with his Xbox. You weren't willing to pay someone who would do it for $50, so you spent hundreds on something different, and this is my fault? Yeah, if you had just made the change, we wouldn't have to. I'm speechless. She walked off looking smug, and I emailed her manager and HR and haven't had to interact since. Apparently she reserved a meeting room in my area just so she could walk by my area to say that. Now she's not allowed to come to our area and has to work through her manager for anything to do with us. She's also been warned not to badmouth me or she'll lose her job. What I don't understand is why this guy? Why keep picking on him the whole time? There would have been so many other people who could have helped with the printer. It's like she had a secret crush on him or something, I don't know. Some sort of weird obsession, or maybe something that made her jealous so she was out to get him. I don't know, it's really weird though. This was a day before we had to submit a made-up action story for our English class. I really love to write stories about my favorite topic, which is action and/or drama. Not the type with like love drama, just action drama. So I decided to really put some work into it. I really wanted my story to amaze the teacher, so I wanted to choose a really nice topic. Just if you want to know what the story was about, I chose to make up like an ace attorney trial. For those who don't know, it's basically like court, but way more cooler than what it's like in real life. I actually was so happy that I could write about what I wanted, that I wrote a total of 100 pages. Of course, I submitted only the first 10 or so pages and wanted to see if any of my colleagues or teachers wanted to get the full story. So basically, it was the day when we were supposed to finish our story. Me and 3 of my classmates decided to have a little get together at one of our friends' houses. Enter F, my best friend, S, my second best friend, M, one of my best friends. I know, a lot of best friends. He has ADHD and has a really hard time concentrating at school. He's also a bit shy and never speaks his point of view, only when he is with closer friends. We were at Felicia's house, and we're all chatting and laughing, playing games and talking about school, when suddenly Shakira had the idea to share our stories with each other and see what all of us had written. I absolutely loved Felicia's story. It was full of mystery, and it always kept you with your heart racing. Shakira's story was also very good, but she's struggling a bit with English, and we gave her a bit of advice. Mike didn't really have a story because he thought that his ideas for his story were very bad, so he just let it slide. We all wanted to help him, so we came up with ideas and decided that we should help him write the story, but still paying attention to the fact that he needs to write it. We didn't want him getting a low grade. After we help him write a little, but amazing story, which was written all from his imagination. It wasn't really as big as it should have, but it was something pretty neat. Finally, I get placed on the spot and asked, "Why haven't you told your story yet?" I take out my phone and start reading from my Word document. I just read the first 2 pages because I didn't want to spoil all the fun, in case they wanted to read the whole thing. I was a bit sad that Felicia's story was way better than mine, but my friends' opinions were positive, so that really made me happy. Right after I finish my story, EM storms in the room. "I'm sorry to bother you, but I just so happened to hear your story. Could you lend me your phone so that I could read a bit?" Me assuming that she was interested in my story. "Yes, of course, I'd love to hear your opinion on it." She then snatches my phone from my hand and begins to read what I assumed was the 3rd page from my story, from the fact that she scrolled down a bit. "You know what? I really love this story." "Well, thank you, I really appreciate." "You should write my son's story as well." "What? But I can't, that wouldn't be fair. Besides, he already wrote a story on his own, and quite a good one actually." Mike's cheeks got really red and he smiles, looking at the side. "No, you need to write it, and it has to be better than yours. My son deserves a good grade, and you will write a story for him." "Look, he doesn't need me to write his story. He already has a good story, and it wouldn't be fair towards the other students if he wouldn't have written his own story." EM, who is now getting pretty upset. "That's rubbish. My son told me that he didn't write any stories. You're just trying to let my son have a bad grade." "He already has a story. Why is that so hard for you to understand? You should at least read it before trying to make me write one for him." She then turned into a literal Karen and proceeds to say the same thing over and over. I'll save you the crap we had to endure and just cut to the climax of it. "If you don't make my son a story, then I will destroy your story." She then starts tapping on my phone. Me, Felicia, Shakira, and Mike all try to stop her and get the phone from her hands, but it's too late. She already erased my story. I look at my phone and do nothing but smile, and even snort a bit. You'll see why. My mum, M, comes into the room, followed by Felicia's dad, FD, and Shakira's sister, SS. "What is happening?" Me, putting on a really sad and angry face, trying to mimic that I was angry. "She just erased my story from my phone. Now I don't have it anymore." "Why did you do that, EM?" "She refused to write my son a story." My mum could barely hold the laughter because she knew something that only me and her knew. He already had a good story made by him. At that moment, SS takes the story from Mike and reads it, congratulating him for the way it was written, and from the plot twist it had in it. FD and M proceed to read it, the only one who didn't even lay eyes on the paper being EM. They all congratulate Mike, who again turned bright red. You know, this is a really good story. You should be proud of your son. After that, EM thinks that she has won because of her son's very good story that she didn't even read. And from the fact that I didn't have my story anymore and that I was destined to get a bad grade. She exits the room with FD telling her to get out. She didn't want to leave at all, but she was literally pushed out of the apartment and we all just stood in the room, not talking. The kids, I mean. At that moment, Mike turns to me and apologizes profusely for what his mother had done. I just started laughing so hard that I actually started crying from laughter. I tell him it's not a problem and I open my bag and pull out a folder that contained all of my stories printed on it, and a stick which had my story on it as well. We all start laughing at the EM. It was seriously so funny that she thought she had just ruined my chances to get a good grade for my hard work. Eventually, Mike's father came to pick him up and also apologized for what the mother had done. I tell him that it's not too bad, and I smile towards Mike, who was looking like he was about to explode from laughing. The funniest part is that the teacher later told the parents on WhatsApp what her favorite stories were, and Mike's story was indeed her favorite, with me and Felicia both on second place, and Shakira on fourth place. She should have been second with us in my opinion, but I think I know why the teacher chose another story to be third place. I can just imagine the EM's face when she sees my story on second place, but she still tried to destroy my work, so I hate her for that. Also, it's been almost 4 months now, and I've heard that Mike's dad divorced EM and got full custody of Mike after he caught her cheating. I was a little worried for Mike, but he seemed really fine about all this and actually started socializing more after his mum was not in his life anymore. So I guess this is a good ending, not just for me, but for Mike as well. Oh, and one last message for EM. Take that, Fitch. Wow, so the amazingly ironic thing is that if she actually got her to write Mike's story, it might not have ended up being the teacher's favorite story. I feel like no matter what education you're going through, whether it's school or university, having a good group of friends like that support you through it is the best thing you can do to make it through. They're gonna help you with study, of course, but even just that moral support and having fun along the way can really help. Submit your story to be read on the channel at voiceyherestories@gmail.com and join our Voicey veteran community at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.